introduce my next guest to you. His name is Elijah Ongeri, and he has an initiative called I Will Clean Nairobi River. Karibu sana to the show.
Thank you, Joyce.
Now, Nairobi River, of course, is legendary and one of the most polluted rivers in the country. And there have been quite a number of efforts, though, it seems, to try and clean it up.
Yeah.
In fact, the government has contributed or set aside significant resources for its cleanup.
Yeah.
If you are to assess that effort, what sort of scorecard would you give it?
Wow. If there was a scorecard that, if I'm allowed to give a negative out of 10, yeah, I'll give them negative 10 out of 10.
Will
Yeah. You know what?
Not even a zero, but a negative 10.
A zero, that is, that is, I don't know, that will be quite outrageous because, Joyce, since the year 1999, when the UNEP led an initiative to ensure that we have clean rivers in the city, there was a lot of money that was pumped into this project. Then now there were phases. There were the first phase, the second phase, and the third phase. At least the third phase, when John Michuki came in, we saw something, some few things done here and there. But then our government, if you look at the records, has been spending hundreds of millions of dollars in this project, but nothing is done so far because the issue is we have the wrong people in power.
So when you say they're spending millions of dollars,
hundreds of millions, nothing.
So what does that mean? The money is going somewhere else?
Exactly. You know what happens? With no fear of contradiction, I'll simply say that the people in government, the presidential appointees, the officers that we have who are in charge of ensuring that we have clean rivers, these guys, when they get hungry, I think they use Nairobi River as an excuse to eat. Yeah. Because can you tell me something? Why would the government spend 100 million Kenyan shillings on a project cleaning Nairobi River, but then we don't see any form of cleanup? Yeah, so the reason why we came up with this initiative 3 years ago, we are actually lobbying. Our initiative was driven by the passion of many young people in this country who've come up with projects of transforming the waste from the rivers into something useful. I have a friend whom I'm working with is doing briquettes, and of course I met a young man also who's doing all these projects. But then the government is not giving them a platform simply because the young people are not experienced to do what? To transform the waste into something that is useful. Yeah. So why we come in at this point in time, and actually why I'm so grateful for you guys for giving us a platform, you and your millions of viewers at this moment, is we need the government now to, it is taking this joke too far. Joyce, Nairobi River, for example, the main river is Nairobi River. Of course, it has like 10 tributaries with the major ones being Ngong River and Mathare River, yeah?
Right.
It begins in Ondiri, Swambi in Kikuyu. Then it flows all through, it comes down through Dagoretti, Kawangware, Kangemi, Westlands, then Riverside, then to Town Globe, yeah? So the only part that you see that are, there is a joke that has been done somewhere, a better joke, if I can call it that way, is from Museum Hill to Globe roundabout. That is where, Michuki was trying to change the base and try to renovate the river. But then the rest is just a flowing sewer.
So tell me, maybe we need to put into perspective just how bad the state of the river is, right? Because you're talking about it's a flowing sewer.
Sewage, yeah.
So people are just dumping trash, chemicals, waste, human waste into it?
Let me take you to the background, yeah? The waste or the pollution in Nairobi River comes from the major pollutants are three. We have the industrial effluents, untreated industrial effluents. Then we have the raw sewage from the slums. Nairobi River passes through a lot of slums within the city, yeah? So there is the raw sewage from the slums, and then three is the physical waste. Now, we have a solution to all these problems.
Each three?
Yes,
each of the three.
Each of the three. Industrial waste. Because, Joyce, a lot of research has been done. And I'm not telling the government to give us time to go research. A lot of work has been done, actually. And then, if you look at, because I've looked at a lot of research that has been done within the country and outside, comparing the countries that were, at one point, they were at bar with our nation, like Singapore, for example. So, the data we have, The problem we have is enforcement. Look at the three contaminants, the pollutants to our rivers. We have the industrial effluents. This comes from industries that are, adjacent to the rivers. Today, Joyce, I want you to be honest with me. If I give you the authority, how many days will it take you to, tell these guys, hey guys, enough of this joke?
Yeah.
How many days will it take you?
Yeah.
It won't take you, it won't take you a week to enforce it and to ensure that these industries are not dumping their effluents into the rivers. Yeah. So it's just enforcement. Goodwill from the government, enforce those policies, and we will not have industrial effluents being dumped into the rivers. Yeah. Then talk about now the major. The major is the raw sewage from the slums. We have a lot of slums. If you go to Ngong River at Mukuru, actually, I've stayed in Mukuru at some point. Some of the things that are, pushed us to come up with this initiative. What happens? The pit latrines, when they are full, the people, they take it with the buckets, the fecal waste, then they pour it into the river. In a country that has a president, in a country that has a governor, in a country that has a cabinet, a country that has an environmental management authority, a country that has all these agencies, people from the slums, they take their waste, they pour it into the river.
In buckets.
Yes, in buckets. You see it. We have the videos. Some of these things, at times we were, there's a time we shared it online and there was a lot of, we had to pull it down because we didn't want to get into problem with the authorities. So when people in a developing country, in a leading city in Africa, they dump the fecal waste into the rivers. When these people, they dig drainages, open drainages, and then they direct their waste into the rivers, don't you think that is a joke?
Sure.
It is a joke. Now, we said, we have different NGOs that are coming up, they are cleaning up the river, mobilizing the people to clean up the river. The government, the NCC is doing that. It's okay. That is good. But then, behind the curtains is a cartel of looters, a cartel that is eating from those initiatives.
You almost sound like Miguna now.
Oh.
But, a cartel and looters.
Yes.
But certainly, and I take your point, and I really admire your passion too for it, because you're right, this is a very important issue, a very serious issue. And, sometimes you have to ask yourself, can we blame the citizens? Like, shouldn't it be government providing a basic service like sanitation?
We cannot. If somebody, blames the citizen, that person is, allow me to use the word, daft. That person is not wise. It is only, an income boom who can blame citizens for the situation we have in Nairobi River. Can I tell you one thing? I was looking at the recommendations of some of the, government sponsors, researchers to do a research of Nairobi River. Then they pump millions into those research. One of the recommendations they gave is, there is, sensitization of the riparian dwellers. Can somebody tell the government to stop those jokes? Because, look, how many people do we have in the city who dwell in the slums? Quite millions, right? These people, the only language the masses understand is the rule of law. Enforcement of the policy in place. We are not going to pamper them, to beg them to move out of the riparian land. You are not going to, if you spend money sensitizing people, to clean the rivers, that is an exercise in futility. Come up, for example, one of our recommendations is, we have a message for the president. At some point, you'll give me some time, maybe if it allows, to tell the president just one thing. But then, Joyce, when we have the wrong people in power, all these problems are inevitable.
Sure.
The solution to the raw sewage is, we know where it comes from. For example, just assume, it is not rocket science. It comes from the dwellers, from houses. Where does it follow the system? This is where it comes from. Hey, why are you dumping waste into the rivers?
Because they've not been provided alternatives.
Good. That is we have short-term and long-term recommendations or a strategy if given us a chance, because our initiative is telling the government, hey, you guys have done this thing for too long. 21 years and nothing has been done. Will you please just give us 3 months, Joyce? That is what we are asking for. Just give me 3 months. After three months, if I'll not give results, let me, just hold me accountable.
But
Take me to
which
committee.
results are these that you think you can
A
provide?
clean
Because
river.
how do we clean the river, though, when you're saying that there are all these industrial effluents and
Yes.
there's, you know, human feces and, you know, human waste in
Yes.
the river? And
Yes.
I can't remember the third one.
Is a physical waste like
Physical, yeah, taka.
yeah.
So how does one actually clean up the river from that?
Now, I will take you to, you know, we have two parts here, yeah? We have the upstream and we have the downstream.
Okay.
What the government does, you know, duping the masses that it is cleaning the river, is going downstream, carrying out an exercise only meant to, you know, to siphon public funds downstream. When indeed upstream, people are dumping the sewers. So the major issue,
futile.
if you sort the raw sewage dumping into the rivers, actually, you know, stop the raw sewage and then ignore the others, just to speak, at some point you will have no waste in that river.
Wow.
The major one is the raw sewage.
Okay.
If you, at some point I'll share with you some of the clips we've done, you know, or even the media, you guys have done this, you know, this investigation. The sewers comes from all these slums, all these informal settlements across the rivers. So the issue, you know how we can tackle it if the government just allows us, you know, to form. You know, I was telling people that if we get a task force to do this, and people were quite skeptical about a task force. The issue is we are accustomed to looting. So when the government talks about a task force, then the minds of people know that that is a channel for looting our funds. So the issue of the raw sewages, you simply enforce the law.
I want to give you that chance to talk to whichever authorities of power are watching this, because you said you want that opportunity just to address the nation and address our leaders. So I want you to turn to this camera right here and just give out your message, because it certainly seems like our leaders, the people that are supposed to be protecting us, are the ones that have sort of sold us to the stake of the mercies of environmental justice. Right? And if this is not taken care of, it is us who are going to be suffering.
Yeah.
So I want to give you just a minute or so to just, you know, speak truth to power right now.
As I speak to the right guys, can I shock you? Where the veggies that you eat in this city, where are they planted?
Yeah.
Because
don't
if we
want to
had
know.
time, then of course we have a detailed, we could have spoken about all, actually we've not spoken, yeah? I could ask, you know, I'll tell you where it comes from, the levels of toxicity in those vegetables. I think you'll be shocked. Now people are crying of cancer. All these things are carcinogenic, but then we may not go into those details because of time. However, Joyce, just help us reach out to the right guys, and this thing will be, you know, it.
What would you say to them?
Yeah, this camera, right?
This one.
Hello. My message this morning goes to our dear president, Mr. President. A story is told of a young man who approached a king who was in distress. I really don't know what was going on in the mind of this king when he saw a small lad coming to him with claiming to have a solution to the problems that the king was facing. This morning, Mr. President, a young Kenyan youth, 30 years old, is coming to you with solutions to the problems that we are facing, specifically in cleaning Nairobi River and the other rivers in this city. This morning, I want to ask you one thing. Will you kindly at least respond to any one of our 73 letters that we've sent to your office?
Wow.
Will you kindly this morning consider giving us a chance to at least put our effort and our passion and our strategy in cleaning this river? This morning, will you kindly trust us and just give us only 3 months? Give us the resources that you've given to the people in government who are not performing. Will you give us those resources? Will you give us only 3 months? And then will you wait and see if we can invite you to swim in Nairobi River after 3 months? Mr. President, my message to you this morning is kindly just give us a chance. Just like that king in that story that is told, a story that we all know, trusted that young man and entrusted him with the responsibility of killing that giant. This morning I'm asking you, Mr. President, just go by my word. If I fail after 3 months, just hold me responsible.
Wow.
Thank you.
Whoa.
Joyce,
I
I'm ready
salute
to
you.
go to committee if I don't perform after 3 months. I've mobilized people in Mukuru, in Dandora to clean this river, but we stopped because it was wasting our time and it was, futile. Because
Yeah.
if you clean and tomorrow the situation is worse,
You've written 73 letters to State House.
I have written 73 letters, but these things, they are not, nobody replies. Somebody was telling me, those letters are dumped by a secretary in the, around. When we get some time, I'll come with the copies of those letters. I'll come with the copies.
Elijah,
Yeah.
it's an honor to meet you.
I
I feel like
appreciate.
our country needs more people. I'm so challenged. Like, what is it that is making us upset as citizens that we have the same level of passion that you do? It's an honor to meet you.
Thank you,
And
Joyce.
honestly, whatever we can do to help, I think we all certainly should do.
Thank you
How
so
can people
much.
follow your work? Are you on Instagram and
Yes,
social
I'm on.
media?
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you can actually right now, I think you can log into Twitter and just see the hashtag is I will clean Nairobi River. We've just started an online campaign. We need this message to reach the president. Thank you, Joyce, and your team for giving us a platform to at least speak to the nation.
No, the
and
honor
our
is
leader.
mine. The
Thank
honor
you.
is mine. You totally deserved it. Wow. What a guest. Oh my goodness. I'm so challenged. Wazee, sisi tunafanya nini? Tusiketi tu hapo nde. And the world, our city, our country is going amiss. There are people, young men like you and I, doing amazing, amazing things. Please do support his work. And honestly, if there's anybody in power and in government listening, and that clip, we need to find it and we just need to play it a million times over. Your clip here to the president. We'll make sure you get that and all of us can share it as well. All right, guys, we need to take a short break now as we get ready into the final segment of the day. Man, my heart rate is literally like pounding just from that voice note to the president. Amazing, amazing. This is Full Circle with Joyce. Keep it locked right here.